Imagine trying to race a Formula One car on a bike. Although possible, your chances aren't going to be great. That's how it feels to run a business in the digital age, competing against enterprise competitors who are using big enterprise tools and consulting firms and AI, against you who are jotting down things on post-it notes and trying to, make sense of a bunch of disconnected tools. The solution for that is what's called digital transformation. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what digital transformation is, how to go about doing digital transformation, what are the tools you need to use, and what are the common challenges that businesses face when they go through this process. And if you stick along to the end, I'll give you a step-by-step process you can steal and follow to implement digital transformation in your company. And if you're wondering, why should I listen to this guy? My name is Tony, and I've helped over 100 companies implement internal operating systems, automations, and AI within their business, from small mom and pop shops, small construction companies, all the way to Fortune 500s. And everything I'm going to share with you today is based on real world experience and real world clients that have gone through this process successfully and gotten great results. So before we get started, let's just get the elephant out of the room and define what digital transformation is. I'm not a big fan of, huge definitions and stuff, but in short, what digital transformation is using modern technology and tools to give you a competitive edge in your business, right? And this means for some companies implementing a very advanced AI software that's going to automate, a whole department. And for some other companies, it's taking a bunch of post-it notes that they currently have lying around their office and just putting them somewhere where other people can access it, categorizing them and tagging them so other people can search it, right? So digital transformation means a lot of different things depending on the size of the company that you run, right? So to keep things simple, is all we're trying to do is use modern technology and tools to give you a competitive edge in your business. So why should you care about doing digital transformation in the first place? Well, if you're a business owner or an executive, you already understand that your competitors, especially the bigger ones, are already paying all the best consultants. They're paying for all the fancy AI tools and softwares, and they're trying to get an edge over everyone else in the market. And if you've been following what's been happening in the technology space for the last couple of years, with the tools coming out like ChatGPT and different AI tools being more and more available to smaller companies, these are things that usually were only available to large enterprise companies. And now they're getting kind of pushed through all over the market. And every one of your competitors, they're looking to implement these tools. So where should you start? The first thing you have to understand is digital transformation is not about buying a bunch of software. Even though, these particular tools and software, their sales reps, they're going to try to convince you that, hey, if you just buy this license, this thing's going to absolutely change your business. That's not what is going to happen. We have to think about digital transformation in 4 distinct ways. Number one, the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to understand your entire process. And this is something you can do on a whiteboard. This is something you can do on a computer, on a tool like Lucidchart. And I have an entire video if you want to understand how to do a business process map of your company. But this is the first step that you're going to need to do to even start your digital transformation journey. The reason why you're going to need to do this is you're going to need to understand where are the opportunities and bottlenecks in your business currently as is. No matter if you're fully pen and paper, running on a bunch of post-it notes and papers in your office, or you already have a level of digitalization in your company. The baseline is always to start off with the process, because as you go through this process of mapping everything out, you're going to spot the opportunities and bottlenecks on the things that are constraining your business as is. The second phase of doing digital transformation starts with building out a single source of truth. And what a single source of truth is the place where all of your data lives. So instead of a bunch of post-it notes, instead of, a bunch of disconnected tools, you have a singular place where you can log in and see all of the data that's important within your company, all of your financials, all of your project data, all of your people, HR tasks, all of that is centralized in one spot. And before you can do that, what you need to define is what are your company entities that you want to track? In simple terms, what are the things that you need to track in your business? So things that are usually things that companies tracks are a list of clients, a list of team members, a list of projects, a list of tasks, a list of invoices, payments. These are all different entities that we need to be tracking and then putting into one spot. What this allows us to do is to then interconnect them. So when we get a payment, we're then able to associate that payment with a client. And we then also have a list of team members who are linked to that client as well. So once we get paid, we can then kind of distribute that information across our system to multiple different entities. So we can start getting into understanding what our numbers are. And that brings us to phase number 3, which is tracking and understanding your numbers. By having a single source of truth, we are now able to take, disjointed data that usually, lives in a bunch of different piles of paper or in a random bank account or a random project management software, and bring that all together and then correlate that data together, right? So we're able to associate a payment from the accounting tool with a project in our project management system. So we then understand the profitability of that project because we've been tracking the hours of our employees that have been working on that project. That means to track and understand your numbers. And that's what, an advanced level of digital transformation gets you to the point where you can dissect data within your company to such extent where, there's no limits of what insights you're trying to get. What the ideal state looks like here is you're able to select on a client and see all of their previous payments. You can see all of your team members who have been working on that client, all of their previous projects, what are the inventory or parts that have been used for that specific project, and all of that is linked together under one spot. And the beautiful thing is we get to the point where all of the data and the numbers and the KPIs related to that are tracked. So we can track, what is our average project completion time? We can track what is our average payment completion time? How long is our cash cycle? What is our average billable rate? We can track all of these things very simply without crunching a bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet because everything lives under the same roof. And that brings us to phase number 4, which is the one that people usually first think of when they think about digital transformation, which is automation and AI. And the only reason we do all of that at phase 4 is because now we're actually able to understand what are the numbers that need improving in our business, and we understand how are they currently doing. And when we throw technology, when we throw an automation, when we throw an AI tool at that specific problem, we're able to then track and monitor the progress of the fix that we've implemented. So in phase 4, this is where you're going to see a lot of companies start to implement different AI agents, like a voice calling tool that's going to take inbound calls and then distribute them to the right person, or random AI note takers or workflow automation to automatically create quotes. Because it's solving a specific problem. It's solving a specific KPI within a company, and then that business knows that they're getting an ROI on that specific thing. The biggest mistake that people make when they go about doing digital transformation within their company is they delay it. And it's oftentimes just paralysis by analysis. They're unsure of, hey, is this thing really important right now? Can we just kind of keep things as they were for the past 10 years? We got this far, that means everything's working. And the truth is, it depends on who your competition is, right? If you're in a market where the competitive landscape is very hard and you have a lot of big players moving into your market, they're going to try to take a piece of your pie by leveraging a lot of technology, and you're going to get stuck and left behind. The second mistake that people do is they try to overanalyze and pick what is the right tool. And hey, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this software because someone said it's a good software, or I'm going to buy this ERP license because their sales rep was very convincing. Throwing tools and throwing subscriptions at this problem is not what's going to cut it. So don't think about digital transformation as buying software, because that's usually the last thing that you want to do. And that brings us to mistake number 3, which is that people think that buying software is going to lead to digital transformation. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Throwing subscriptions and licenses at the problem is only going to create a bigger mess. Actually, buying software and buying different tools is one of the last things that you do in a digital transformation journey. And if you skip any of the 4 phases that I've outlined, you're actually going to put yourself likely in a bigger mess that you have previously. So before you decide to go and buy a bunch of software and buy a bunch of different licenses of different tools you read about on LinkedIn, you need to make sure that you understand your process first. And there's no better video to show you how to do that than this one.